Hey, welcome to O.Co Stadium here in Oakland, California, everyone. The 4-0 Denver Broncos, the 2-2 Oakland Raiders. Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Jamie Erdahl with you. Want to remind you this game is available in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. The Denver Broncos have won the toss, and they will receive on an absolutely beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Oakland, California. 76-degree temperatures, and I know it's a phrase that's used often, but there's not a cloud in the sky.
I know it's a beautiful day here in Oakland, and everybody's revved up and ready for football.
Denver won the toss, and they have deferred, and the Oakland Raiders will get their hands on the ball first. And this will be returned by Roy Halou Jr. out across the 15 to about the 17-yard line. And there is Derek Carr, the Raider quarterback, in his second NFL season. He's thrown for more than 900 yards on the season, 7 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, and is very much on track to be the quarterback that the Raiders hoped he would be.
And he's playing much better and much more confident in year number 2 and fitting really well with what Bill Musgrave is trying to do from an offensive standpoint.
Line of scrimmage is the 18-yard line. And Carr will throw right away on the quick slant, and that's incomplete, intended for Crabtree. On the offensive line, center Rodney Hudson, the big O-line acquisition to anchor things up front. And Amari Cooper, the rookie wide receiver the Raiders expect will become one of the big offensive weapons in the National Football League.
Well, talking to Derek Carr, he said this defense, yes, the Broncos are the #1 defense in the league. You have to make sure you're not tentative. They want to make sure they come into this game and still be aggressive.
The give is to Murray. Murray with the room up the middle. Out to about the 28-yard line and a first down. A look at the Broncos' top-ranked defense. They get Derek Wolfe back up front. Suspended the first 4 games for using performance-enhancing drugs. The linebackers, 2 of the best in getting after the quarterback in Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. And the secondary has T.J. Ward, born across the bay in San Francisco, the AFC's Defensive Player of the Week. He had a heck of a game last week against the Vikings. 6 solo tackles, 2 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. Carr on first down, throwing it out into the flat to Amari Cooper. Cooper up the sideline, across the 40 and out of bounds for another Oakland first down. Bradley Roby, Danny Trevathan knocked him out. And the problem for Oakland today is trying to stay away from that huge rush.
Well, and that's why they're trying to get the ball out of the hands of Derek Carr very quickly. You see in the motion with Amari Cooper coming across the motion, they recognize man coverage. Carr gets it out of his hands quickly. They're able to set up the blocking and pick up the first down.
Oakland hoping to put points on the board in the opening drive for the first time against Denver this season. From the 42. Murray. Maybe a yard at most. Derek Wolfe making his presence known right off the bat.
Well, and the difference in the 2 running plays that they just ran, Greg. So a couple plays ago, they had success, about a 10-yard run up the middle. It was a quick hitting play, used the big bodies on the Broncos up front, pushed that pile. That time it was more slow developing, and with speed like Denver's, you don't want a slow developing run play.
Second and 10. Murray again. Penalty marker flies in the backfield. Danny Trevathan making the stop.
There is a penalty flag on the play.
Holding. Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
The penalty is on right tackle Austin Howard. Jamie Erdahl on the sidelines today. Jamie.
Well, Greg, the league leader in sacks, DeMarcus Ware, knew this Denver Broncos defense was going to be special this season when he found out Wade Phillips was arriving as the defensive coordinator. Ware and Phillips overlapped in Dallas for 3 seasons, and Ware was able to tell his defense, you guys are going to love playing in this system. This defense is predicated on athleticism and tenacity, and Greg, it sounds like they need some seriously veteran players to trust each other in this defense.
Yeah, it's so hard to get DeMarcus Ware to open up and talk.
He was great.
Carr with time across the 35 to the 37 is Murray out of the backfield, and DeMarcus Ware there for the stop. Last week in Chicago, Latavius Murray had his problems. A couple of dropped passes. One of them was intercepted right there. He also mishandled this pitch from Derek Carr. The interception led to a Chicago field goal. The Bears ended up winning it by 22-20. Murray never saw the light of day again.
Well, Jack Del Rio said they didn't lose faith in him. They just wanted to go with Roy Halou in that situation. And as you see, Latavius getting opportunities today.
3rd and long. The screen for Murray. Murray looking for running room, none there. And he's buried at about the 37-yard line, and that'll bring on the punting unit.
Well, that's exactly what Denver wants to do defensively, is make you stop that first initial movement. Brandon Marshall was in position. That's what made Latavius Murray make the cutback. And when you cut back against this defense because of the speed, there's going to be others there to make the tackle.
Marquette King will kick it away for Oakland, and back deep for the Denver Broncos is Emmanuel Sanders. Going to let it bounce inside the 20, takes an Oakland roll to about the 12-yard line. Marquette King kicking it away. 50-yard punt. And Denver, led by Peyton Manning, 5-time NFL MVP. Despite Denver's 4-0 record, Peyton sort of struggled by his lofty standards so far this year.
Well, and you have to say a little tongue-in-cheek when you say struggled, but it's struggled by his standards, as you said, Greg, because nearly a 64% completion is still high by league standards.
Manning over the middle, incomplete at the 20-yard line, intended for Owen Daniels, his tight end. Injuries have caused changes to the offensive line. Rookie Ty Sombralo is out. Ryan Harris moves from right tackle to left tackle to replace him. And one of the best receivers in all of football wears number 88 for the Broncos, and that is Demaryius Thomas. 2nd and 10. Manning to far side, and that one is wrapping up Emmanuel Sanders behind the line of scrimmage. That'll lose a couple. Khalil Mack in on the tackle.
Tried to get a quick misdirection.
Here's Oakland's 3-4 defense, missing Justin Ellis with an ankle injury today. Stacey McGee replaces him. Raiders with an awesome twosome coming off the edge, and Mack and Aldon Smith. And in the secondary, Charles Woodson, who won the Heisman back in '97. Here he is today, 62 NFL interceptions later. 3rd and 12. Anderson up the middle to about the 20-yard line. That'll be about 2 yards short of a first down.
And that's a rare occasion seeing Peyton Manning underneath center. Had a chance to talk with them and the coaching staff about how they've tried to integrate the pistol formation, which gives the same look, but that time at the end of the field they are down in the black hole. It gets really loud, having some communication issues potentially, so maybe that's why he's underneath center, getting the handoff there and giving some space for Britton Colquitt here.
Britton Colquitt kicking it away to the rookie Amari Cooper back at his own 30-yard line. Cooper going to let it bounce, and it lands out of bounds. We'll see where they place this, but this will be pretty good field position for the Oakland Raiders. Line of scrimmage will be the 36-yard line. A reminder, never miss a moment of football action with the CBS Sports app. Every play, every story, and every highlight right as they happen. Download the CBS Sports app now at cbssports.com/mobile.
Well, we'll see if the Raiders continue to get the ball out of Derek Carr's hands quickly, see if they continue to run the ball downhill, get big bodies on the inside, or if they try and take some shots down the field.
Murray in the backfield with Carr. Murray gets the handoff, and he is stood up at about the line of scrimmage. There'll be no gain, and it'll be 2nd and 10. There's Gary Kubiak in his first season with the Denver Broncos. 8 years the head coach in Houston. And Jack Del Rio, the former defensive coordinator in Denver, now in his first year as the Oakland head coach.
Well, and Jack Del Rio talked to us about changing the culture in the locker room. You saw him there just talking to Mike Tice, the offensive line coach, and putting together a good group of teachers as his assistant.
Murray again. Murray off the right side. Across the 40 to about the 42-yard line is where forward progress will be marked. Brandon Marshall, along with T.J. Ward, making the stop.
Well, and once again, having some success with that downhill run, quick hitter in between the tackles, getting up to that second level is a comfort zone for Latavius Murray.
3rd and 4. Movement up front. John Hussey.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 43. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And this is exactly what Derek Carr talked to us about. You'll see him coming off the edges. They jump. Both guys on the outside. Derek talked to us about trying to help out his offensive line because the Broncos are so good at rushing the passer. He said, I need to help out my offensive line by changing up formations, changing up snap counts, and that happened and worked for him right there.
Broncos 18 sacks coming in to week 1, number 1 in the NFL.
Down! Blue ID! What's up?
On first down to give us to Olawale. Olawale across midfield into Denver territory at about the 49-yard line. This Denver defense has been absolutely extraordinary. The best overall, number 1 in passing defense. And as I just mentioned, number 1 in sacks. They're pretty good.
They're very good. And what we don't even have up there is that they're first in the league in third down defense, but they're also first in the league in yards allowed per play on first down, which in turn gives them good production on third down.
Carr with time, deep down the far sideline, incomplete. Intended for Roy Helu Jr., broken up by Danny Trevathan, although it kind of looked like it was the other way around.
Well, and watch the position of Helu getting his hand in there to knock it away from Trevathan. Trevathan reading that wheel route all the way. He's in position to make the catch, and Helu reaches up and is able to knock it away.
Third and 6 now for the Raiders. Carr with Murray in the backfield again. Good protection for Carr over the middle. Inside the 30 to the 25 is Michael Crabtree for a first down. Nice throw, nice catch.
Crabtree coming across from up top. He's going to be coming on a dig route, but you watch these guys going underneath. That's what draws the underneath coverage and leaves Crabtree one-on-one. He uses strong hands. Watch the safeties, how they drop down and take that underneath route. That's what creates that lane behind for Crabtree, and excellent throw by Carr.
Raiders operating now from the Denver 25. Murray. No gain. Todd Davis, the first man to hit him.
Well, going back to Crabtree and that catch he made, he talked to us about how comfortable he felt in this Bill Musgrave offense and how Musgrave is able to come up with plays, and he asked the receivers what they like and trying to find things that work for everybody and what works with Derek Carr. And he's really enjoying the locker room and the atmosphere that Jack Del Rio has put together.
Carr, quick pass, outside, that is complete. Inside the 20, almost to the 15-yard line is Marcel Reese.
When you have a big body out in space and you're able to get the ball on him quickly, it's a huge advantage with a 250-pound guy. A lot of times that's a smaller wide receiver you're making those quick throws to. Now all of a sudden you give it a 250-pound back out in space, you're going to be able to push the pile and set up a third and short.
They think a lot of him. We've seen him returning kickoffs.
He's done a lot of things. He's a multi-purpose player for the Raiders.
Now!
3rd and 2.
Blue ID! What's up?
Olawale in the backfield gets the handoff, looking for the first down. And it's going to be really close, just inside the 15-yard line. And
the one
it looks
official,
like they're going to give it to him.
yeah, they're giving it to him without the measurement. So, well, there's one blowing the whistle, but I thought maybe he was going to be able to crease it on the backside. You'll see him. This play is working strong. He cuts it back to the left. It looks like a crease there. He could have popped it through, but Ware is the one that had a hold of his legs and didn't let go, and Davis finished it off.
It is a first down. And right now there is a Bronco down on the field. It's nose tackle Sylvester Williams. Is now back up and walking off.
You mentioned earlier, Greg, that the Broncos have yet to give up a point on the opening drive. They have yet to give up a point in the first quarter.
All right, but I assume that includes the opening drive.
that does, but they don't give up any points, but they haven't given up the first quarter. So here you are, the Raiders. So right here, 92, he has somebody falling on the back of his leg. We've seen that repeatedly week in and week out.
On first down, whistles.
Full start. Offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, you know Jack Del Rio's grinding his teeth. You got a really good drive going. You're into the red zone, and you give up 5 here.
Well, and that's just a disappointing part of it is you have that momentum going. Everything's feeling good. You're getting down. You just pick up a big third down, and then to have that that's a mental mistake. That's something that you can correct, and it's disappointing, but you got to be able to move on from it.
Murray. And Murray pushes his way to about the 17. Barrett, Trevathan on the stop.
Well, just the gang tackling going on by the Broncos, the speed to the ball. I know I've referenced it several times already, but he's able to break through that first tackle, but with the swarm of defenders that are there, two guys are jumping on his back before he can get his legs turning again.
10th play of a 5-minute drive so far.
Down! Blue waiting! What's up?
Murray once again. Murray pushing his way to the 15. It'll make it about 3rd and 11. Derek Wolfe, Aqib Talib making the stop.
Interesting to see if the Raiders spread them out this time. The last couple downs, they've had big bodies in there trying to run inside. Go a little bit more conventional here, except they're moving Latavius Murray out on the outside. So Murray's up here on top. You got Crabtree here, and you got Amari Cooper down below.
A lot of targets for Derek Carr. Carr trying to dodge the rush. Can't. Down at the 20. Malik Jackson had a hold of it.
The easy thing to do, Jackson is going to be rushing right here. The easy thing to do as a quarterback is when you're able to get a little bit of an escape and you have someone hanging on your legs, like Jackson is on Carr, is to try and flip that ball and throw it away. Good understanding by a young quarterback in Carr in realizing I'm already in field goal range. Let's not try and do something stupid and force the ball, take the sack, and leave yourself an easy field goal.
And here is Sebastian Janikowski setting a Raider franchise record with his 241st career game. The 38-yard field goal attempt, not going to get there.
Well, and that's why you should never say an easy field goal, Greg, because the Broncos able to get pressure up the middle.
That is the first missed kick by Janikowski this season.
The bodies that come in and able to get the hand on it right in the middle of your screen, it appears. The middle of the line here is who gets a hand up. Could be Sylvester Williams.
Downfield, got his man, Emmanuel Sanders, and Sanders to the 25-yard line. They're going to mark him down at about the 27. As we welcome those of you here to Oakland, Peyton Manning, off the missed Janikowski field goal, the blocked field goal, connects with Sanders.
Well, it's a double move by Emmanuel Sanders. He's on the outside in a stack formation.
45 yards on that pass, 1st and 10.
Plenty of time Peyton has to slide up in the pocket as that pressure was collapsing from the outside and get Emmanuel Sanders on the double move for the big game.
So just like that, the Broncos flip the field. Hillman and Thompson in the backfield. This is Ronnie Hillman. Hillman knocked out at about the 25-yard line. Hillman, the author of the 72-yard touchdown scamper last week against Minnesota.
Well, and that's the mix-up that the Broncos like to use. They like to use C.J. Anderson and Hillman and mix that up to cause some confusion on defenses.
Number 96 is Vance Walker. And he's taking a walk into the locker room. We'll check on him. Meanwhile, 2nd and 8 at the 25-yard line for Manning and the Broncos. Scoreless with 1:20 to play here in the first quarter. Manning got rid of it in a hurry, crossing pattern incomplete. Intended for Owen Daniels and batted away by Niran Ball.
Malcolm Smith bringing the pressure, forcing Manning to get rid of that ball quickly. Daniels, we had a chance to talk to last night. He said, you know, a lot of teams have had success against the Raiders with the tight end, but it's important to get the run game going as well.
Third and 8 for Manning and the Broncos, with 1:13 to play in the first quarter of a scoreless game. Quick pass inside the 20 to the 15-yard line is Jordan Norwood.
Number 11, Jordan Norwood from Peyton Manning.
And that is a first down. It'll be first down Denver at the Oakland 14.
Well, that's TJ Carey we saw coming off the field there, who had to leave last week's game because of an injury. He was moved on the injury report just yesterday from out to questionable, and as you can see, obviously was in there playing.
Hillman to the 12.
C.J. Anderson.
You just joined us. The Raiders marched downfield. Sebastian Janikowski had what is usually a gimme for him, but it was blocked at the line of scrimmage. And then on the first play after that, Manning to Emmanuel Sanders to put the Broncos deep in Oakland territory. 2nd and 8. And the first quarter winds down before they get a snap off. We'll take a timeout. We're scoreless at the end of 1 in Oakland. Welcome back to Oakland for the start of the second quarter. Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Jamie Erdahl, and all the numbers from the first quarter, most of them favoring the Raiders, but they're still scoreless on the board. And it's the Broncos who are threatening. 2nd and 8 at the Oakland 12. That's complete, the 10-yard line. Sanders knocked out at about the 6 or the 7 by Nico Thorpe. It'll be the 7-yard line. So on 3rd and 3, what's working so far for Mr. Manning?
Well, I think they need to spread everybody out again. They want to be a power team. They want to run the football, but where their strength is right now is spreading out, getting in space, and let Peyton pick the matchup that suits him best.
Sanders in the slot to the top side of the screen. Manning, quick pass, down at the line of scrimmage by Justin Tuck.
Well, Justin Tuck recognizing that Owen Daniels is to that side and that Manning is going to make a quick throw. You'll see Owens is going to make here. Tuck's going to come inside. He's the one that jumps up. He's the one that jumps to the outside. It was Khalil Mack that was on the outside, but Tuck recognizing, trying to get the ball out of his hands quick on a 3rd and short. able to jump up and knock it down.
So Brandon McManus will attempt a 25-yard field goal. He also has not missed a kick so far this year. That kick is on its way, and it is good. So with 14:19 to play in the second quarter, the Broncos grab a 3-0 lead. We're back to Oakland in just a moment. Tailgating, the ritual out here in Oakland. I told you that mobile angioplasty would be a great investment, Trent.
I can't believe he actually got a bite out of that. I was like, there's no way. His buddies are all telling him, I'll take a bite of that triple cheeseburger. I was like, there's no way. He got it. He got it done.
I'm betting he finished it. This will not be run out of the end zone until the Raiders will start from their own 20-yard line. When we come back, this rivalry has been something through the years. It continues today, the Raiders and the Broncos. A lot of great names associated with this Raider franchise, and there's one of them, Jim Plunkett. Raider quarterback and two-time Super Bowl winner. The Raiders from their own 20. Carr. Latavius Murray. Murray kicks it into another gear and across the 30 for a first down out of bounds at about the 33 or the 34-yard line.
Murray on the quick screen or quick swing route to the outside. Crabtree, you'll see coming into the picture here, able to get a key block, allowing Murray to pick up that first down.
He went from 0 to 50 in a hurry, didn't he?
That's a big body out in space. We talked earlier about Reese being out in space as a big body. Latavius Murray, same thing. Get him out in space, get him going downhill.
Down! Blue 80! What's up?
Carr going to give it to him again. He's got a little running room again, although hit at the 35 and forward to about the 37-yard line. Trevathan and Malik Jackson with the tackle. Tuesday on CBS, One Pill makes him a crime-solving mastermind. Catch the new hit drama Limitless. New episode this Tuesday at 10, 9 Central, only CBS.
That's twice now we've seen. That time it was Trevathan. Before it was Brandon Marshall having Latavius Murray by one leg, just holding on so the other guys could get there to make that tackle. That's going to have to be something we keep an eye on, because as soon as he breaks through that, he would have had a big game.
On 2nd and 7, it's Murray again. Just across the 40, we go down to Jamie.
Greg, strong Broncos defense, but things to keep an eye on. Vance Walker, questionable to return with a neck injury. And I've been watching rookie Shane Ray get worked on a lot on the sideline right now in that right hip area. Nothing official from the team with that, but it's certainly something to watch.
Thanks, Jamie. And Shane Ray, the first-round draft choice out of Missouri. Meanwhile, 3rd and 3 facing Derek Carr.
Hey, 4-3, run!
Broncos bringing guys down into the box.
Carr, quick slant, across midfield, inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Amari Cooper for the first down.
Cooper with just your slant route or quick slant route as he's one-on-one against Roby. He gets inside, and with that late rotation by the Denver defense, Carr was able to pick up on that, know where he wanted to go with the football in man-to-man coverage. Cooper with his natural ability spinning, picking up the extra yard.
Derek Carr conceded to us on Friday, with a defense as quick as Denver's, much more emphasis on the short passing game.
What's up?
This is Halou, Roy Halou, to about the 36. And Derek Wolfe and Sylvester Williams combined for the stop there.
Well, and that was one of the things, Greg, that we talked to T.J. Ward about yesterday, is not giving an indication too quickly to Derek Carr. You want to disguise as much as you can for as long as you can. You don't want to give any quarterback too early of an indicator if you're rotating or moving from one coverage to another. That time there, the Broncos thought they timed it up perfectly, but when they dropped it down, that just confirmed to Derek Carr what the coverage would be.
54!
See Oakland dominating time of possession, trailing by 3 on the scoreboard.
Blue 80! What's up?
Carr on 2nd and 8. With time, throwing Walker inside the 20 to the 10 is Todd Walker. It'll be 1st and goal.
Bill Musgrave talked to him about who he needed to get involved in the game plan, and Walford is that guy. He wants him to get up the field. They weren't able to utilize the tight end. You see him matched up on T.J. Ward in the picture. Ward drops him because he's in zone coverage. So Walford gives him that option. He's a rookie. He has some speed, has some versatility, and he was hoping to get him involved that time with a big play.
First and goal from the 3. Carr trips but gets the ball to Murray, and it'll be basically no gain. Von Miller making the tackle. Raiders a little lucky.
Anytime you have a guard or a lineman pulling, that time Jackson, you can see, steps on the right foot of Carr. He's able to maintain that balance. So not only stepping on the foot messes up Carr, but Jackson, by stepping on the foot, he doesn't get that block to seal the edge, which ultimately allows the Broncos to tackle Murray.
Second and goal.
Don't be surprised for a play action here. Put the ball up.
What's up?
Carr, throw, touchdown! Marcel Reese.
Reese is in the backfield. They're giving it an eye look like they're going to run a power to Derek Carr's left. And he just sneaks around. You're going to see him. He sneaks around, gets out here, and comes out in the flat. The fake is going to be the power. That's what freezes Von Miller on his rush. And Reese is able to sneak out into that flat. But because of that play fake, that's what allows Derek Carr to get to the outside. It just freezes Miller for that one step.
Janikowski for the extra point. And it is good. Denver had not trailed in a football game since week 2 at Kansas City over a span of 9 quarters. But right now, the board reads Raiders 7, Denver 3. The famed black hole here in Oakland. What made you think play action on that play?
Well, just because they weren't effective on first down, because they got stuffed on the run attempt on first down. You could see the way Denver was collapsing. Get a play action in there while they had him on their heels.
Omar Bolden from the 5. Bolden across the 25 and out to about the 28-yard line. 9:31 to play. First half. Jubilation on the Raiders sideline. They lead 7-3. Back in Oakland, first down for the Broncos at their own 28-yard line. Manning throwing as penalty markers fly. Complete out here on the near side of the field to Virgil Green. And we'll check the flag.
Virgil Green on the reception. There's a penalty flag.
Offside. Defense, number 95. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Benson Mayowa.
Well, just as I said, Derek Carr wanted to talk about helping his offensive line. Peyton did the same thing there.
Reminder, Week 5 continues with Sunday Night Football on NBC and tomorrow with Monday Night Football on ESPN, and then Week 6 will kick off with Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. Those Atlanta Falcons are on a roll, aren't they?
Yeah, they've reacted very well to new head coach.
First and 5. Hillman going nowhere. Looks like he ran right into Khalil Mack. With help from Mario Edwards.
Yeah, there was nobody blocking Mack coming off the edge. Mack will be coming off the edge and untouched, just right into the backfield. Just throwing him away. I guess Virgil Green actually touched him, but it wasn't very long.
Second and 6. Manning, quick pass this side. Nice grab near the 40-yard line by Demaryius Thomas. His first catch of the day. And that's enough for a first down.
When you really couldn't ask DJ Hayden to play any better coverage. Here, isolated, it's just a hitch route. Peyton throwing this as a back shoulder. Big physical receiver, putting it in a spot where only Demaryius can get it. Peyton was very complimentary of Demaryius. Just not only his skill set as a route runner, but because of that size and strength, he feels very comfortable putting the ball in a location that he'll go up and fight for.
Demaryius Thomas, the Broncos' leading receiver a year ago with just over 1,600 yards receiving. First down from the 40. Manning pumps. And now, Juwan Thompson out of the backfield. And Thompson into Oakland territory and just inside the 45-yard line. Curtis Lofton with the stop.
This is a screen pass. Watch the entire right side of the offensive line. Just a one-count block. They get out into space. You see Vasquez gets the chop, and that allows Thompson to be able to push it up the field and pick up the first down. Good job by that right side of the offensive line with that screen getting up into space.
From the 44. Another first down for the Broncos. The sideline, diving incomplete. Close to the 10-yard line, Emmanuel Sanders covered by DJ Hayden.
And this is just taking a shot, recognizing you have one-on-one, you get that pre-snap read. You know you have one person taking a shot up the field. You get to that midfield area and you want to take a shot for the end zone. Hayden decides he has the one-on-one over there. Instead of going to the combo read on the backside, go ahead and take a shot.
Second and 10. Manning, quick pass, far side. Sanders trying to bring it to the outside and is knocked out at about the 40-yard line by Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson and Peyton Manning in the same football game.
A lot of history, a lot of football games between those two.
Each in his 18th season.
That's remarkable. From the 1998 draft.
Woodson, the 97 Heisman winner. Peyton Manning, the runner-up. Manning throwing. Incomplete at the 35-yard line. Thomas covered by David Amerson.
It's a drag route from right to left. Amerson in position.
Look at those guys.
Why is nobody smiling? That's the Heisman. I mean, aren't they supposed to be in a good mood there? I don't think they had announced the winner at that point in time of the picture, right?
Maybe that's why. What great numbers on both sides of the ball.
Got the rings for the Super Bowls, got the Pro Bowls. Outstanding careers by both of them.
This ball is going to bounce inside the 5 and into the end zone. So we'll come back to the 20-yard line, and we'll take a break with 6:09 to play. 6 minutes, 9 seconds to play in the first half, with Oakland leading the Denver Broncos 7-3. And the Broncos now facing Derek Carr from the 20-yard line. Quick pass near side. This is Reese, and Reese reaching for about a 3-yard gain out to about the 23-yard line. Darian Stewart with the stop. This week on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Stephen welcomes Oprah Winfrey plus Jack Black and Jessica Chastain. All new this week, only CBS.
Second and 7 from the 23.
I want to say that Peyton is intense, but on our way up to the booth, Peyton was throwing underneath the stadium today.
Yeah, trying to get warmed up, and just back there, it was interesting seeing him choosing to do it in the tunnel.
That pass complete to the near side, and again, it's Reese. Reese may be the most versatile football player on this team.
Well, you get him out in space. He has the hands of a wide receiver, has the size of a tight end or fullback, so finding different ways to utilize his skills.
He runs, he catches, he returns kicks. First down now to the 33.
Down! Blue ID! What's up?
This is Olawale for about a yard. And Malik Jackson the first to hit.
Leads Olawale to the 35, a gain of 2. Second and 8.
They could be setting up something for later. That time the Broncos, with that personnel group and that formation, the Broncos had 9 defenders near the line of scrimmage, leaving Cooper one-on-one on the outside. So don't be surprised if they get back to that in the third or fourth quarter with that personnel group, that formation, go a play-action pass, and take a shot. Sometimes as a play caller, you're trying to set those things up for later.
On 2nd and 9, they'll give it to Murray up the middle, and Murray close to the 40-yard line. It'll leave about a 3rd and 4. And so far, this Oakland offensive line has done a good job of keeping people off of Derek Carr. Derek, talk to us about those two animals on the outside in Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah, they just talked about the speed they have coming off the edges, and that's why they've had some effectiveness running on the inside, because they feel the strength of their offensive line is the size of their offensive line and trying to push the pile.
3rd and 4 now. Carr running for his life, and they have to throw it into the grass. Shaquille Barrett chasing him. So this drive stalls at about the 40-yard line, and on comes Marquette King in the punting unit.
Broncos had good coverage downfield. Nowhere for Carr to go with the ball. He tries getting the outlet. Latavius Murray was blocking, and smart to throw it at his feet so it's not a grounding.
Emmanuel Sanders back at his own 15-yard line. And we get whistles and flags. And this will be against the Raiders.
Before the snap, false start. Number 58. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
That penalty is on Niran Ball. So the snap now from the 34. And King booms it out of there. Sanders all the way back at his own 5-yard line. Across the field, picked up inside the 10. Niran Ball with the special teams play. 61-yard kick from Marquette King and a 4-yard return. We're talking about Manning and Woodson. It has been quite the duel down through the years. It continues today.
Back inside O.Co Coliseum right now, you are looking at DeMarcus Ware being carted off the field. Greg, he is questionable to return with a back injury.
All right, Jamie, thank you. Meanwhile, Manning with the lob, and it's complete across the 15 to about the 17 or 18-yard line to Emmanuel Sanders, who has been his main target today.
For the most part, Demaryius Thomas hasn't been involved, and you're right, Greg. Sanders being the one-on-one guy, a lot of the short underneath stuff, drag routes that time down on a slant.
This is Anderson across the 20 for a 1st down. DeMarcus Ware is now questionable for a return with that back injury Jamie just reported. Significant loss for this Denver defense.
Huge loss for the defense, you're right.
Manning to the sideline. That's complete, and that's Sanders again. And Sanders with another 1st down. This one out to about the 33.
Knocked out of bounds at the 33-yard line, a gain of 13. 1st and 10 at the 33.
Emmanuel Sanders, 6 catches, 73 yards. Manning sideline again, and again the catch on the far side. This is Benny Fowler. Fowler off to the races inside the 30. He is brought down. Tackle is made by Nico Thorpe.
Number 16, Benny Fowler.
One of the first times today we've seen Manning go to the pistol where the running back is lined up behind him. We talked with Gary Kubiak about that, how they're able to do play action. That time they're working and pushing the ball up the field.
2 minutes to play here in Oakland. No team scores more points in the last 2 minutes of a half than the Denver Broncos. Denver now at the Oakland 26. Manning, pump fake, throws. It is incomplete. Intended for Jordan Norwood, double covered inside the 5-yard line. DJ Hayden and Charles Woodson.
Manning must have noticed something with the pressure that was anticipated. He must have saw something in the alignment because he checked to that play before the snap, realizing he had man-to-man coverage. He came out looking to his left, tried taking a shot to Norwood up that right slot.
Denver came in today averaging 4.8 yards a play through the first 4 games. Today, it's almost 8 yards a play. 2nd and 10. Manning on the crossing pattern. Sanders out of bounds, short of the first down. Emerson forcing him out. At about the 18, it'll be 2 yards for a first down, 3rd and 2.
You know, we talked to Owen Daniels yesterday, and he talked about the freedom that Garrett Kubiak gives Peyton Manning at the line of scrimmage, something that's been different. Daniels has been with Kubiak in Houston and in Baltimore, and just the flexibility that Peyton has at the line of scrimmage isn't necessarily always been the case when running Garrett Kubiak's offense, and you can see the last 2 plays, Peyton changing the play at the line of scrimmage.
And we get a timeout. So we get a timeout with 1:50 to play. In the first half, Oakland leading, Denver threatening. The Blue Angels dazzling the folks all weekend long here in the Bay Area, part of Fleet Week. 3rd and 2 for Manning and the Broncos. Manning throwing, and it is caught at the 15-yard line by Jordan Norwood for a first down.
Once again, the Raiders bringing pressure. Manning now for the 3rd time on this drive hitting the drag route underneath the Fowler. Looks like he has his hands underneath it. He secures it.
Bobbled for a moment and held on to by Jordan Norwood, so it's first down just inside the 15-yard line. Manning to throw again. Hillman out of the backfield. Just inside the 10. Clock continues to move, coming up on 55 seconds to play.
And as you get down towards this end zone, it gets harder and harder for Peyton to try and change the play at the line of scrimmage just because of the noise. He's so good at recognizing defenses. Now going with the empty set.
And looking right into the black hole, too. Manning and a lofted towards the corner. Incomplete. Intended for Hillman.
Hillman going up for this ball. Malcolm Smith in coverage. Right before the ball gets there, slight contact. Not enough to get the call, but big 3rd down here for the Raider defense.
3rd and 6. And Manning calls a timeout. With the play clock winding down. 25 seconds to play in the first half. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB and the guys back in the studio with scores and highlights. You think they'll have anything to talk about today?
lots of excitement.
They'll be slipping in their own drool. They'll have a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network, all coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Manning throwing, intercepted in the end zone by Charles Woodson. Woodson brings it back out to the 7.
With a bunch formation to the left side, and Owen Daniels one-on-one on the front side. You can see Woodson just reading the eyes of Peyton Manning. Daniels gets collision, so he doesn't get a clean release. Manning trying to anticipate it, throw it up the seam.
Charles Woodson's third pick of the season. Back on first down, and the Broncos will see the Raiders just kneel on it. A reminder, the Verizon halftime report coming your way with JB and the guys from New York with scores and highlights and a preview of Thursday night football. The Verizon halftime report just moments away. Peyton Manning trailing the Raiders for the first time since 2001. That covers a 9-game span. 7-3 Raiders. Let's go down to Jamie.
Well, Coach, in terms of defensive momentum, you can't find a better situation than Charles Woodson picking off guys. How much did that help you in the second half?
Well, it was a good way to finish the half. They get the ball to start the second half. That was a really important drive. For us to stay out of that without allowing points was huge.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
All right, Jamie, thank you. We come to the end of the first half with the score. Oakland 7, Denver 3. We're back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 50. Back in Oakland, California, in the first half, Derek Carr had the possession thing going for the Oakland Raiders. The touchdown pass to Marcel Reese, and meanwhile, the defense was there for Oakland, bothering Peyton Manning inside and out. And at halftime, it's a 7-3 Oakland lead over Denver. Time now for Who Are You Loving? Presented by McDonald's. You got to love a confrontation between Peyton Manning and Charles Woodson. Woodson with his 63rd career interception, but his first ever against Peyton Manning. Welcome back to Oakland. Greg Gumbel along with Trent Green. Kind of a surprise, not what we expected in the first half. We expected a dominating Denver defense, but it was the Oakland defense that was looking good.
Well, it was the Oakland defense that was looking very good, and time of possession was controlled by the Raiders, which in turn kept their defense very fresh. When you're looking ahead to the second half now, what is it that Denver needs to do? Denver needs to run the football better. They only had 5 rushes for 15 yards, and right in tune with that is the Raiders controlling the clock. They had 7 minutes more time of possession. Some of that is due to the fact of Denver not running the football. You have to find some success when you get down into the red zone. We just showed the interception by Woodson of Peyton Manning. Red zone success. Also, the Raiders had a blocked field goal earlier in the game, or Janikowski was blocked. So both teams have had it down in the red zone and not come away with points.
2 red zone trips for Denver, no touchdowns, 1 field goal, and 1 interception. Omar Bolden. And Bolden across the 25 and spinning across the 30 before he is knocked down at about the 33. Let's go down to Jamie.
Well, Greg, I could sense disappointment from Gary Kubiak in speaking with him coming into the half. He was sad that there were only 3 points on the board for the Broncos. He hasn't succeeded in the red zone as much as this team should. As Trent just mentioned, they need the run game to step up here. And once again, a reminder for this very powerful Broncos defense. DeMarcus Ware dealing with a back issue right now. Kubiak wasn't sure if he was going to be able to come back in the second half.
All right, Jamie, thank you. So Manning and company from their own 33. And this is Ronnie Tillman to about the 35. And I'll repeat it. I don't think you can say enough so far today about how this Oakland defense has really rallied.
Well, you consider where they came into this game ranked-wise and number-wise, and sometimes you can get caught up in those numbers, but they've rallied, they've responded very well to what they're trying to get done on that side of the ball, making the Broncos one-dimensional.
Hillman. And Hillman fights his way to about the 39. It'll be third and around 4. I'm sorry, Trent. This Denver defense arrives number 31 in the league overall and 31 against the pass.
And you can see the combination there with Hillman and C.J. Anderson. They try and combo them back and forth. Hillman last week with the big 72-yard touchdown run. But just having that combination back there, continuing to feed them. We talked about running the football. First and second down, both were running plays. Anticipate a throw here on 3rd and 4.
Broncos with just 21 yards on the ground so far today. 3rd and 4. And Manning will throw for it. Far side of the field, it is overthrown and incomplete. Let's go down to Jamie once again.
Greg, I'm sure not the news Gary Kubiak would have wanted, but DeMarcus Ware is out for the afternoon now with that back injury.
All right, Jamie, thank you. So there is one of the big defensive weapons for the Denver Broncos gone for the day.
Well, I'm jumping back to the other side of the ball, the defense of the Raiders, 3 and out. We talked about had to get something. Denver needed to get something going, gets things going here in the second half. Opening drive. The Raiders respond, finish strong at the halftime, going into halftime with the interception by Woodson, now forcing the Broncos to a 3 and out in the first possession of the second half.
Second 3 and out of the day for the Broncos. Amari Cooper stands back at his own 15. Short kick, it's going to bounce, and it'll be down at about the 22-yard line with 13:26 to play here in the third quarter. It's 7-3 Raiders. Mentioned to a couple of the Oakland Raiders that this could be a real statement game as far as the standings go in the AFC West, and none of them would admit to that, but that doesn't mean it isn't true.
Well, just the importance of division games now.
Carr under pressure, and he goes down at the 15-yard line. And there is Von Miller, and lost the ball. The Broncos recovered it. Miller with the sack and the fumble recovery. Well, he just took it away. Just took it right away from Derek Carr.
And Carr never saw it because his eyes are looking left the entire time. They go for the cut block on Von Miller. Doesn't happen, and Miller just attacks the football. Doesn't even go after Carr the body, just takes both hands after the football.
What a play.
Come up with it.
What a play by Von Miller. Third sack of the year. Number 52 of his career. And here are the Broncos at the 15. Manning throwing this side on the slant. That's Thomas. Ducks inside the 5 to the 4. And it'll be first and goal.
That's Demarius Thomas on the reception to the 4.
Playing a lot of off coverage are the Raiders, forcing everything by Manning to be underneath. The majority of his throws, especially in the first half, were the underneath throws, crossing routes, slant routes. That time hit Demarius Thomas on the one-on-one to the outside.
Boy, talk about a game changing in the blink of an eye. First and goal, C.J. Anderson to the 3 and brought to a stop.
C.J. Anderson, the ball carrier, knocked down at the 3-yard line.
It doesn't look like the Broncos are going to change personnel group. If they go back to that same formation, anticipate here, they can get a one-on-one shot. Some of the players are waving for the training staff of the Raiders to come out onto the field.
And that looks like Charles Woodson will be back. Looking east, San Francisco. Back in Oakland. Second down from 3. Anderson. Hit hard at about the 2 and a little shoving up front. Let's go back to that injury of Charles Woodson.
Well, here's Woodson in the middle, and he's going to go one-on-one in the middle with Hillman. You can see that right shoulder he puts in. We're anticipating that's what the problem is and why he went off the field.
And Charles Woodson just trotted back onto the field. So the ball at the 2. Third and goal.
You got Demarius one-on-one right here against Nico Thorpe.
Sanders in motion. Manning looking left, throwing, back to the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Demarius Thomas.
You can see T.J. Carey was playing safety on that snap and ended up coming over late to try and give some underneath help. But Thomas going around to the outside, working that baseline, and Manning, this is really a play that you think Demarius Thomas is going to make. He's shown such strong hands throughout this season and gets both hands on the ball. Wonder if Carey got a fingertip on that just to change the trajectory of the ball a little bit.
Another strong defensive stand by the Raiders. McManus from 20 yards. And we have a pause in the action on the field.
The officials trying to ice McManus. But it's the old extra point, basically.
and it is good. McManus hits his second of the day. Pulls the Broncos to within one, 7-6 Raiders. You got to figure Peyton Manning still hasn't quite figured out this Oakland defense because things haven't been clicking the way he'd like them to so far.
There hasn't been a lot of rhythm. You'd think after that quick turnover, Von Miller with the sack and strip and giving them good field position, this hasn't quite gone their way.
From the 2-yard line on the far side of the field, this is Marcel Reese. And Reese out close to the 20-yard line. 11:19 to play in the third. We'll take a break. 7-6 Oakland. First down for the Raiders at their own 20-yard line. Latavius Murray in the backfield. Murray gets the handoff. And Murray for about 2, maybe 2.5. Reminder, your weekend starts right here with Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. The Atlanta Falcons taking on the New Orleans Saints here on your home to Super Bowl 50, CBS Sports. Today, Matt Ryan and the Falcons continue to roll. While the New Orleans Saints fell, it'll be Ryan versus Drew Brees. What a job Dan Quinn has done in Atlanta. 2nd and 7. Give it to Murray. And Murray across the 25 to about the 27 where he's stacked up.
Latavius Murray.
And we've seen little indications. It wouldn't surprise me if this game got a little chippy.
There's no love lost between these two teams. Obviously, there's a great deal of history going back to the AFL days, and I believe this is the 110th meeting between these two teams. So, yeah, there's no love loss here, especially with the division rivalry, the fact that it's a 1-point game.
Oh, and
it's a little hot down on the field.
Oakland just tired of losing to the Denver Broncos. They've lost 7 in a row to them. Carr on the move, pulls it down, got rid of it. It is incomplete. Raiders and their fans want a flag. Intended for Crabtree and covered by Aqib Talib, but there is no penalty marker.
A lot of hooting and hollering coming from the stands because Talib was tugging on Crabtree as Crabtree was trying to come back to the ball looking for a flag. Carr not having anybody open, trying to buy time with his feet and throwing one in the direction of Crabtree, trying to get the penalty but not thrown.
Marquette King kick it away. This is Emmanuel Sanders, and he makes the fair catch call at about the 22-yard line. So 9:49 to play in the third, and Peyton Manning, his offense has managed just 2 field goals. Gary Kubiak looking for some answers to the rushing game. The Broncos come into this game 29th in the league in rushing. They had 144 last week, but half of those came on a Ronnie Hillman touchdown dash. Hillman in the backfield with Manning. Manning to throw. Over the middle, that's complete to Demaryius Thomas. Out to about the 39-yard line and a first down.
Well, Woodson's slow getting up again because it's the right shoulder he comes in and makes this tackle on. Once again, if the Raiders are going to go one-on-one with Amerson against Demaryius Thomas, that'll be the direction as you see Woodson come in late with that right shoulder. Look for Manning to continue to go in that direction if that's how they're going to match up.
So number 42, Larry Asante, is in to replace Charles Woodson. Manning with time, over the middle, wide open. Inside the 40 is Emmanuel Sanders to the 38.
Emmanuel Sanders.
And Manning beginning to heat up.
When you'll see the play fake, and here this is going to be the clear out by Demaryius Thomas, and then coming in the background. That's where the window, because of Demaryius Thomas clearing out on the backside, 2 players run with him, leaving that underneath window that Manning's able to hit.
Manning 16 out of 26 for 216 yards. On first down, play fake, Manning under pressure and goes down at the 47-yard line, and that's Malcolm Smith.
It's a play fake. You'll see him coming off he's coming through the backfield here, just a one-on-one. Manning comes up the play fake to the left, tries to set up looking downfield. Not enough time as Smith gets him for the sack. First sack of the day of Peyton Manning.
Second of the season for Malcolm Smith. Second and 17. Play clock winding down. He got the snap, the quick pass to the outside, and that's complete to Sanders, and Sanders just inside the 40-yard line. And Charles Woodson back on the field and making the hit.
You can see Manning encouraging these guys, trying to get them up on the line of scrimmage and going faster, trying to get this tempo going as they almost ran out of play clock. They're not even lined up yet, and it's almost down to 10 seconds on the play clock. This isn't what Peyton Manning wants. He wants time to analyze the defense and make changes if he needs to.
5 seconds. He gets the snap. Looking to the near side of the field, and that's complete. That's Benny Fowler with the catch, and he's down at the 35-yard line. That's about 6 yards short of a first down.
On the reception.
This will be just short of a 53-yard field goal. As they bring McManus on. McManus is 3 for 3 on over 50-yard field goals this season.
He has a long of 57. Of course, you can kick a 57-yarder in Denver, can't you?
I wouldn't go that far, yeah.
This is 52 yards.
Maybe it could bounce 57, but.
For the lead. It is perfect.
That was halfway up the net. He had plenty of distance on that.
6:29 to play, third quarter. The Denver Broncos grab the lead, 9-7. Just under 6.5 minutes to play in the third. Denver, 3 field goals on the board. Good for a 2-point lead on the Raiders.
Well, it's important for the Raiders to get something going. We talked about the offense of the Broncos need to get something going, and the Raiders 2 possessions, only 4 plays in those 2 possessions.
That will roll into the end zone, will not be returned, and the touchback will start the Raiders at their own 20-yard line. Earlier today, breast cancer survivors and caregivers participated in the pregame ceremony unveiling a very large pink ribbon down on the field.
First and 10 for the Raiders from their 20.
Nicely done. Join in the fight against breast cancer. Learn more about a Crucial Catch Day on October 13th. Find out how you can help make a crucial catch at NFL.com/pink. Roy Halou in the backfield. On first down. Carr going to go deep down the far sideline. Overthrew Crabtree, overthrew everybody. Crabtree covered by Chris Harris Jr. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, that's that shot. They're trying to push the ball up the field and get the points back quick. But as you said, Greg, Chris Harris right in the pocket of Michael Crabtree, and even if that ball had been in bounds, it wouldn't, not a lot of space to catch it over there.
Trent, are you just trying to guess right on the kind of defense you're going to get and the kind of pass rush you're going to get when you take those long shots?
Well, with DeMarcus Ware out of the game, you try and think that they're going to need to mix things up, as you see them mixing it up once again here on defense. But when you can locate a man-to-man, you want to take those shots, or that's the indicator when you could potentially take those shots upfield.
Olawale for a yard, and now it looks like a pretty rejuvenated defense for the Denver Broncos, which a year ago was being coached by Jack Del Rio.
Wade Phillips has come in, and as we said in the opening, the connection he and DeMarcus Ware had in trying to instill that, and the players very excited about how simplified it is and how it's just about speed. It's a fast defense. Fly around, make it simplified, and get after the quarterback.
Carr throwing. Close to the 40-yard line, Michael Rivera. It's tight end. And that's a first down.
Rivera working the seam. You see him work the seam as the Raiders are able to stop the pressure. See Talib going up and over the top. As high as that pass was, I think Talib thought maybe he was going to get a chance at an interception. But Rivera able to bring it in. Much needed first down for the Raiders, not having had one here in the second half.
Express! That's it!
Number 40. This is Falou. And not finding any room, may have even lost a yard on the play.
Well, and that's what the defense wants. They want to stretch it out, and let their speed take over.
And we have Von Miller slow to get off the turf. John Hussey helping him. Did you ever have a referee help you up after you'd been knocked down? Ever?
You have to have a few years in the league before they start helping you up. But yes, I did.
And Miller is going to take a walk off the field.
Miller just caught in the pileup as everybody's making that tackle.
Now, when the official helped you off the turf, did you request help?
No, I never asked for it. But you never turn it down. Yeah, you never turn it down if you can get some help getting up. So.
2nd and 10. Miller off the field for the play. Crabtree in motion to the top of your screen. Carr pulls it down, rolls, looks, throws, incomplete. Intended for Marcel Reese on the near sideline. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Reese tried a wheel route, a little out and up on Roby, and Roby didn't bite on it. Carr just trying to put in a location where one of those jump balls, and another 3rd and 10 or 3rd and long. They just converted one last time on 3rd and 9.
He's coming in right here.
Amari Cooper has almost been a no-show with just 2 catches today. Miller is back on the field as Carr throws, and that's incomplete at midfield, broken up. Intended for Crabtree. Chris Harris Jr. was there.
When you get into 3rd and long, that's when defenses can go to a 22-man where they have a 2 deep with the safeties and then man-to-man underneath. What that allows the guy in man-to-man coverage to do is he can take chances because he knows he has help over the top. That time able to undercut it and knock the ball away.
Emmanuel Sanders, Andre Caldwell, deep. High kick. Sanders. Fair catch called for and made at about the 15-yard line. 4:06 to play in the 3rd. It's a 2-point Denver lead. We've been talking a lot about Charles Woodson today. He celebrated his 39th birthday on Wednesday with his family after another day at the office at the Raider practice facility. And the Charles Woodson Clinical Research Fund has been going strong since his initial $2 million gift back in 2009. That fund provides money for researching life-altering childhood diseases. Good man, Charles Woodson. C.J. Anderson in the backfield with Peyton Manning as they operate from their own 15-yard line. Manning, far side of the field, he's got his head open with
Demaryius Thomas with the comeback route on the outside, one-on-one with DJ Hayden.
With that completion, Peyton Manning has now become the all-time leader in regular and postseason passing yards. 77,705. He's looking for more. He's got more. Nice catch by Thomas. And we have a penalty marker down. Peyton Manning says this is going to be against Oakland. Here's John Hussey. That penalty is on Khalil Mack. I want to remind you, tonight, what does President Obama have to say about Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump, and Hillary Clinton? Find out on 60 Minutes tonight. Hands to the face, automatic first down, courtesy of Khalil Mack.
You got Nico Thorpe off of Demaryius Thomas down the bottom of the screen.
And there's Thomas. And Thomas spinning across the 40. And he stepped out on his turnaround, so he'll be marked down at the 38-yard line. You know, Jack Del Rio, I think, was very interested to see how his team would respond today after what was a really tough loss a week ago in Chicago.
Well, it was a difficult loss for them in Chicago. You went in there with a lot of anticipation after coming off the win at Cleveland, so I think they've responded accordingly.
Manning throwing. Juggled incomplete. Emmanuel Sanders, the intended receiver, and covered by David Amerson.
It'll be interesting to see the replay of this. Amerson gets in early. You see him make the contact and turn Sanders' body, but no call was made, bringing up a 3rd and long.
Get away with one there?
He did get away with one.
So now 3rd and 8. Woodson playing center field about 20 yards off the line of scrimmage.
We haven't talked a lot about Alden Smith at the bottom of your screen. 99 coming off the edge.
Manning throwing. Woodson. He's unbelievable.
Even legendary quarterbacks can get caught staring down a receiver. Demaryius Thomas just on a corner route, and Woodson's playing the middle of the field. Here's Woodson here. Demaryius is gonna just run a corner route, but it's just the eyes of Peyton Manning. He just looks over here the entire time. And Woodson just drifts to that side of the field. He takes off. He's able to undercut it and come up with the 2nd interception of Peyton Manning today.
What a catch. What a catch. And it looks like he did come down inbounds. That looks like the interception. His 2nd of the game.
His entire 18-year career, he never had an interception of Peyton Manning. He's talked openly about wanting to get one. He gets 2 today.
Getting greedy. Carr, quick pop over the middle. Across the 45 to midfield is Marcel Reese for an Oakland 1st down. I'm sure as a quarterback, Trent, you can appreciate how a defensive play can change the momentum on the field.
Well, just as the defensive play by the Broncos with the sack strip on the first play of the 2nd half against David Carr got the momentum going for the Broncos. Now this, really this entire 3rd quarter has been the momentum of the Broncos, taking the lead and giving a little bit of excitement and energy into the Raider fan base and also the Raiders.
Carr. That's complete to Crabtree, inside the 45, to the 43, down to Jamie.
Greg, another hit to the Broncos defense. Aqib Talib, questionable return with an ankle injury.
All right, Jamie, thank you. We've had a late flag thrown on the play. Juwan Thompson, the running back for the Broncos, is also out of action right now.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 97 on the defense. That is a 15-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
Well, Malik Jackson just added to the damage with a personal foul penalty on sportsmanlike conduct, which advances the ball now to the Denver 28. A minute 50 to play in the 3rd. Pulled it down, and he goes down at the 35. Shaquille Barrett led the charge.
You initially could see that Carr was trying to get rid of the ball quickly, understanding that he was going to have pressure. Not able to get the pressure, or not able to get the ball off after the quick play fake. The play earlier, though, setting up this great field position for the Raiders. Watch 97 as he throws the ball back at Crabtree, hits him in the helmet. That's what draws the 15-yard penalty. Now the Raiders have to deal with 2nd and long after that sack.
2nd and 17, to be exact. This is Halou. plows his way to the 31. And this will bring up a most important third down. And remember, for the Raiders, Sebastian Janikowski lurking on the sideline.
Well, he did. You have to remember, he had that one blocked earlier in the game on a low kick.
Probably not happy about that.
Not real happy about that, but he has plenty of leg to get it from here. The important thing for Carr to understand is to not take the sack and push him back further. So either get rid of the ball quickly or be definitive with your decision to get the ball out of your hand.
3rd and 13, pass over the middle. That's complete. And Halou to about the 22-yard line, and that will bring out the field goal unit, we would assume. And this will happen in the 4th quarter. We played 3 in Oakland. 9-7 Broncos. Well, as we start the 4th quarter, 2 weeks ago it was Trent Green's homecoming in St. Louis. Last week everybody made fun of my homecoming in Chicago. Today, our producer Bob Monsbach returns home to the Bay Area. Celebrated his 60th birthday this weekend. Here is Sebastian Janikowski from 40 yards out. And he missed it. This is not a Seabass kind of day.
Very uncharacteristic. The first one that he missed earlier that was blocked, it was low. This time, just pushing it.
He came in here on the season 10 out of 10 with extra points, 7 out of 7 in the field goal department. Have one blocked, and as you said, he just pushed that one to the other side of the goalpost.
Well, and he dropped his head immediately. He knew as soon as it left his foot.
So that momentum momentarily out the window. Manning going to give it to Ronnie Hillman. And Hillman out to about the 32. We want to take a moment to send our best wishes out to our director, Suzanne Smith, who is home with wrist surgery earlier this week. She's been directing NFL games since 1990, even directed Peyton's first NFL start. We miss Suzanne. We look forward to seeing her next week in Minneapolis. Meanwhile, Chris Svensson filling in ably. I assume he's filling in ably. We haven't been knocked off the air yet.
Get well, Suzanne.
2nd and 8.
Go!
Manning over the middle. Broken up. Intended for Owen Daniels. Broken up by T.J. Carey.
Well, Owen Daniels was tripping as he was attempting to catch this ball as he's falling to the ground. Carey almost comes up with the interception.
You know, it's a different kind of... Charles Woodson has been extraordinary today. Sore shoulder, high Aunt Nelly.
Those are the 2 interceptions against Manning, coming up with some big plays.
3rd and 7. Here come the Raiders. Manning got rid of it. Incomplete. And a penalty marker down. Benny Fowler, the intended receiver, and looked like Nico Thorpe was all over him.
He got there early, and
or the ball got there late.
You could see that. You can see the Raiders. Jack Del Rio is looking for that the ball was
Pass
tipped.
interference. Defense number 31. The ball he placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Well, the Raiders feel that ball was tipped, and therefore it shouldn't apply.
Well, I don't think it was tipped. I do think that Manning was grabbed. Alden Smith grabs him, and that's what makes him turn. But I don't think that ball was tipped. I just think it was the manner in which Alden turned him and grabbed Manning's shoulders.
Either way, first down at the 44. Hillman will change of direction and out to about the 49-yard line. Wake up and watch with the world. For the first time ever, the NFL is streaming a live game on Yahoo. The Bills and the Jaguars from London, Sunday morning, October 25th, 9:30 Eastern Time. Learn more at yahoo.com/NFL stream. Something has been desperately missing from this Denver offense today, and that is a touchdown. Hillman with running room, looking for the first down, and he has it close to the 45. Peyton Manning quarterbacked teams have gone 179 straight games with at least one touchdown being scored. Last time without one was 2003.
That's an incredible stat. To go that many consecutive games and leading touchdowns, it just tells you it's another incredible number that Peyton has put up.
We'll give it to C.J. Anderson this time, and Anderson off left tackle. And we have a player down, and we have a penalty marker flying. That's Justin Tuck in defensive end.
Looks like it could be his right arm as he's trying to throw it in, an arm tackle on C.J. Anderson. Watch him as he crawls on the ground there and sticks out that right arm. And not sure what the flag is, as the officials are still talking about it.
Here's John Hussey.
After the play was over, personal foul, offense. It'll be 15 yards, second down.
No guilty party designated by John Hussey. Maybe it was a team effort. 12:34 to play in the fourth in a 2-point game. Justin Tuck trying to recover on the bench. Been replaced by Mario Edwards Jr., the rookie out of Florida State, on the field. Second and a long 22 for the Broncos. Raiders trying to knuckle down again on defense. Manning stepping up and got hit. Back at the 39-yard line.
Pressure coming from all over. You see Khalil Mack getting up the field, Aldon Smith getting up the field. Ultimately trips.
A little group effort on the part of the Raiders.
He's trying to slide up in the pocket. He looks like he trips over his own man.
3rd and 26. And here come the Raider fans. Manning, little flip, C.J. Anderson. And Anderson knocked back, and we have a penalty marker in the backfield.
Could be a hold on Schofield.
Raiders will turn that down.
Holding. Offense, number 79. That penalty will be declined. 4th down.
It is Michael Schofield.
There's Schofield here going against Khalil Mack. Just trying to set up a quick screen.
Khalil Mack is a handful for anybody.
Well, when you tackle him, they're generally going to call holding.
Picky, Trent.
That's right,
very picky. Amari Cooper is deep for the kick upcoming from Britton Colquitt. Line drive kick. We'll let it bounce. And it's going to roll to a stop and be down at about the 10 or the 11-yard line. With 10:58 to play. Plenty of time in the fourth quarter of a tight game here on CBS. So the Raider defense stands tall again, turns the ball over to the offense, and Carr and the Raiders from their own 10-yard line. Roy Halou in the backfield. Carr, quick pass, near side, and up the sideline and out of bounds is Amari Cooper.
Only the third catch by Cooper today. So they had to come up with a way to try and get him the ball. Broncos have done a good job defensively. Here you see him in a trail technique because they know they have help over the top. So with that double team, this time Talib playing off, but you see TJ Ward had the underneath coverage. With the double move, same thing, TJ Ward in the middle of the field. So paying a lot of extra attention to Amari Cooper.
Boy, he is lightning quick, isn't he? With pass to the far side of the field this time, and it's Cooper again. And Cooper is out of bounds short of the 20, down to Jamie.
Greg, we saw Justin Tuck go out in that last defensive series for the Raiders. His return is questionable with a shoulder injury. I will tell you, he hasn't let a lot of people take a look at that shoulder. He is trying to lift that right arm himself, but right now he's just holding that right arm close to his chest. He looks like he's in a lot of pain.
All right, Jamie, thank you.
Little extra going out on the field between Talib and Michael Crabtree as they went about 10 yards into the Broncos bench. Players from both teams getting involved, a little jawing going on. That's just typical of this matchup, this rivalry.
Here's a big 3rd and 1 for Derek Carr. And he's going to throw for it over the middle, and that is caught by Halou, sneaking out of the backfield for a first down. Time for an update from New York, NFL Today. Let's head back to New York and JB.
The machine known as the Patriot. JB, great players making great plays. How about Julian Edelman? A little swing route right there. Breaks a couple tackles, goes in for the touchdown. Patriots lead 27-6. That's 4 catches, 120 yards for the wide receiver for the Patriots. Back to Greg Gumbel and Trent Green.
All right, guys. Thank you. You know, those Patriots just look kind of angry at the world these days.
Well, and I think that was a perfect example of why you try getting the ball to your receiver quickly, because there's a chance they could.
That ball popped into the air and grabbed by Donald Penn. An alert offensive lineman, Malik Jackson, got a hand on it.
I just got through saying getting the ball to the wide receivers quickly. This time Donald Penn wants to get into the mix. So Jackson tips the ball up in the air. Most linemen just knock it down.
And was that a stiff arm? Did he throw a stiff arm as he cleared the line?
He had every dream going through his head as he was rumbling down the field. He was even begging the official for an extra yard. He thought the spot was bad.
6'4", 315 in the 10th year out of Utah. 2nd and 7. Carr, far side of the field, down the sideline, incomplete. Intended for Andre Holmes, broken up by Kayvon Webster.
Webster's in good position as you see Holmes go up for the ball. Webster's left arm goes up and knocks this ball out. Holmes has it in both hands. Great concentration on Webster's part. Carr under pressure had to throw that ball early as that pocket was collapsing around him.
Well, we were watching practice the other day. Andre Holmes is a big target at 6'4", 210. 3rd and 7 now. Big rush. The pass. Caught near midfield.
Well, Carr's down. They went low. They went low on Carr. They have their penalty down.
Crabtree with the sliding catch, and Carr is up.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 58. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced at the end of the run, automatic.
That penalty is on Von Miller.
Broncos rush 7. It's the hit, it goes low. They called personal foul roughing the quarterback. You also could have called personal foul going low on the quarterback. Crabtree coming up with an incredible catch. Carr not able to put enough on it because of that hit to the legs. But Crabtree with a sliding catch between the two defenders.
So they'll walk it off all the way to the Denver 36.
Raiders want to go down and get a touchdown here. Janikowski's already missed 2 today. 1 blocked and 1 missed.
Olawale. Nothing.
Well, plus you want a touchdown. We already mentioned the fact at the end of the first half, the Broncos are the #1 team in the NFL scoring points in the final 2 minutes of the first half or second half. So you don't want to, #1, leave them a lot of time, but #2, field goal is only going to give you a point lead. So you'd like to go down and get the touchdown and force the Broncos to have to go down and get a touchdown, which has escaped them this entire game.
An Oakland win would elevate the Raiders to 3-2 and drop the Broncos to 4-1.
What on?
Some confusion by the Raiders. Don't be surprised they call a timeout here. As Carr's trying to get everybody on the same page. The clock now under 5 seconds.
3-2, we get the snap off, and they give it to Marcel Reese. And Reese to about the 31. TJ Ward coming up to make the stop.
Excellent job by Carr saving that timeout, getting everybody on the same page, getting the snap quickly, handing off to Reese, and then picking up big yards here as they hurry up to the ball to try and catch Denver off guard in a 3rd and 5.
Carr over the middle, intercepted by Chris Harris Jr., and there he goes. $75 yards.
Well, and this is just a double crossing route Carr is trying to get to, and you'll see here, crossing route here, crossing route here. Neither one is looking. You have a tight end that's sitting down in the middle. Carr floats it in the middle. He thinks he's going to hit one of those crossing routes, and neither one of them was looking for the football. Ultimately floats right to Harris, who returns it for the elusive touchdown.
Chris Harris's second interception of the season is a long-range touchdown and gives the Broncos a little breathing room. With 6:53 to play in the fourth quarter, Denver has now stretched it to a 16-7 lead. Chris Harris with the play to turn things around. Raiders were driving, and suddenly 7 on the board. And this will not be returned by Roy Halou. Let's take another look at what happened, Trent.
Well, I think the thing you have to look at is watch Derek Carr's eyes. They're going to be looking this way, and it's Roberts that's coming from this side here, and Cooper's coming underneath, but Roberts isn't looking for the ball. Carr sees the pressure. He flips it. Harris is looking at the ball, though. He watched it right into the cradle.
We have a player down on the field, and we'll check on him as we take a timeout. 6:53 to play in the fourth. Denver with a 16-7 lead, and Oakland with the ball. Carr spinning and got rid of it under pressure. It'll be 2nd and 10. A reminder, your weekend begins here with Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. The Atlanta Falcons will take on the New Orleans Saints here on your home Super Bowl 50, CBS Sports.
One with just under 7 minutes to go here in the game. Now the Raiders are needing 2 scores. They need to start taking some chances, and falls right into the hands of the Denver defense.
A defense that lost DeMarcus Ware earlier in the game to an injury. A little pop over the middle, complete to Michael Rivera.
And Denver will allow that the entire time. They'll just let the underneath stuff come up, rally, keep the clock moving as the Raiders need those 2 possessions.
I told you earlier, these Denver Broncos have been unbelievable in the AFC West. 13 straight wins on the road in the division.
Won 7 straight overall against the Raiders.
Carr had it tipped on the way, incomplete. Antonio Smith might have gotten a hand on that one. So starting to hear a few boos from the fans now as the punting unit comes on.
Well, I don't know if they're booing the fact that the ball getting tipped or the fact that it's 4th down. They want them to go for it down this close to the end zone. You have to punt it away and count on your defense to get some stops. You still have the timeouts in your pocket. Not exactly what they needed after the pick 6 is to have a 3 and out.
No, the last thing you want to do is turn it over on downs inside the 25-yard line. Here's a flag. Let's see who gets the blame.
Well, now you may want to consider if you get to a 4th and 1. Here's the offense jumping up off the bench.
And they want to come back in.
Neutral zone infraction, number 31. Flag down penalty, still 4th down.
So the offense is going to trot back onto the field.
So what's been working for Derek Carr that you might go to here?
I think you have to go with a play action. I think that the Broncos are going to stack the box, put 7 defenders near it, force you to do something other than run the football. So get a quick play action. You've had success throwing the ball to Reese. He's got 5 catches.
4th and 6, they were going to punt it away. 4th and 1, they'll go for it here on 4th down. Olawale in the backfield behind Carr. He'll get the handoff, he'll get the first down. Out to the 34-yard line.
Well, and if you make a hole that big and allow him to pick up the first down, that's great blocking there by up front and left side of the line.
Those of you just joining us here in Oakland, it's been pretty tight. Charles Woodson has pulled off 2 interceptions of Peyton Manning. Sebastian Janikowski looking for the lead, couldn't connect, and Chris Harris picking off Derek Carr and going 75 yards for the touchdown. 16-7. Here's Carr. Catch is made out to the 40-yard line. Amari Cooper, who's been pretty silent today.
Not a whole lot of yards. He does have the 4 catches, only 47 yards. Broncos have eliminated that big play, which is a big part of Cooper's game.
2nd and 4. Carr to the outside. Marcel Reese, first down and then some. Going to be marked out of bounds at about the 47-yard line, and that's another Oakland first down.
Broncos now realizing the clock is in their favor, going to a lot more cover 2. That last time 22 man. So you got man-to-man underneath with help over the top. This time they dropped the safety into the middle.
We duck under 4 minutes to play. Throw to the far side of the field, and Carr just threw that one away. Crabtree was over there covered by Aqib Talib. Stops the clock with 4:52 remaining here in the 4th.
Well, and TJ Ward told us that. You just can't be predictable on defense. You can't run the same thing over and over, and he said that's what he enjoys so much about the defense they're running. The defense that Wade Phillips has put in is gives the secondary some freedom to make some movement and cause some confusion for the quarterback, but ultimately you have to get back in your spot for your responsibility.
2nd and 10. Carr throwing to Crabtree, and Crabtree met at about the 48. Darian Stewart and Chris Harris Jr. combining for the stop. And here's another big 3rd down play for the Raiders.
Well, this is 2-down territory, definitely, with 4.5 minutes to go in the game. Carr has to understand you do need to start taking some shots at some point in time, but know that you can go for it on 4th down as well.
Carr with protection over the middle. That's complete to Rivera. And Rivera lost the football. No, covered. And looks like a first down.
Looks like he makes a football move after catching this football. Looks like a catch, and ultimately the Raiders got it back.
So it's a first down now at the Denver 42. Carr going to throw it and hit inside the 30. Lost the football.
Roberts comes up with a catch. They haven't signaled it yet.
No, we have no signal. John Hussey walking over and saying, what's the call?
I think they're going to call Denver's football here.
Darian Stewart covered the ball. Question, of course, would be if it was considered a completed
pass. The ruling
pass.
on the field is a completed catch and then a fumble. First down, Denver.
Seth Roberts, the receiver here. All turnovers are reviewed. Hands one. Is it coming out?
Wow. Took about a step and a half before contact was made.
Now it's going to be determined if it's enough to overturn it.
The hit was made by David Bruton Jr. And they are, as they will do with every turnover, review it.
That one there was the previous one to Rivera.
Our expert extraordinaire is in New York. Mike Carey, what'd you think, Mike?
I think this one's incomplete. That's what I would rule, and here's why. So the receiver has to have control, which he does. He gets 2 feet down, but just almost simultaneous with that second foot, he gets knocked to the ground by the defender. The ball comes out. He did not have enough time to become a runner or to ward off a hit. Therefore, this is what I would call incomplete.
This gets about as close as it does, though, isn't it, Mike?
So that's enough to overturn it then, Mike?
In my opinion, especially the new rule from last year to this year makes it more difficult to come up with a catch fumble.
Mike, let's take a look at it in regular speed and tell me if you feel about it the same way as you do in slow motion.
Even when I'm just remembering it in my slow motion, that's incomplete, too fast.
He's got his own replay in his head. I like it. I like it. He's like, Greg, I don't need
how you're trained.
He's like, Greg, I don't need to see it in real time. I got it right here in my head. That's it.
Mr. Gumbel, just keep your opinions to yourself. No problem.
Great job, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Well, this obviously a huge, huge call for the Raiders and their fans. 3:37 on the clock, and it would mean Denver
now you have
not taking over.
Well, not yet, and now you have to start thinking about you do need the 2 scores. You need the field goal and a touchdown. So do you go ahead and take the field goal, get those points, maybe take a couple shots, try and get into the end zone, but take the field goal sooner rather than later. Save your timeouts, get the ball to them.
After review, the ruling on the field has been reversed to an incomplete pass. The ball will be second down and 10 on the 42-yard line. Will the clock operator please set the clock to 3:43? 3:43.
So back in New York, does Mike Carey just go over to the wall and put a big 1 down in favor of himself? Just the way you said it, right, Mike?
Hey, I just think it's just a great call for officiating. We get everything together. We're all consistent here.
All right, Mike,
Miss a little trip at the end.
I love how he says it's a great call for officiating because it confirmed what he said. That's great, Mike. That's great.
So it's a 2nd and 10. Raiders maintain possession. Carr flips it. Kalu out of the backfield, going nowhere, buried at the 45-yard line. Brandon Marshall and Malik Jackson. Clock continues to move. 3.5 to play in the 4th.
Well, I think it is important. I just said it. They need a field goal and a touchdown. So try and get, you got Janikowski who's got a booming leg. Get at least 5 yards here to make it a distance that he can work with.
Carr going down. Something that he absolutely could not do.
Couldn't do that. Now you have to go for it on 4th down. So you've got to come up with that play.
Shane Ray with the sack.
You got to come up with that play that's going to be a big chunk. Anticipate the Broncos are going to go to that 2-man where they get a 2-deep shell with man-to-man underneath, or they could go to a 3-deep, almost a prevent defense where they go 3-deep with man-to-man underneath. Only rush 3 at that point, but whatever they're going to do, they're going to drop deep in zone and play some underneath stuff and try and rally and make the tackle.
Carr for Crabtree. Oh, for Reese, excuse me. And Reese is going nowhere. To the 47-yard line, and the ball will go over on downs.
Well, that's tough call. That's tough calling a screen on 4th and 18, knowing they're going to be in a prevent style of defense where you have all the defenders back there ready to rally.
In the second half, Oakland drives have resulted in a fumble, 2 straight punts, a missed field goal, a pick 6, and now they turn it over on downs. So we will see Oakland calling timeouts now or after the 2-minute warning.
They'll start using them. You need 2 possessions here. So
Brought down at the 47-yard line is C.J. Anderson, and they will use their first of 3 timeouts. I want to remind you, next Sunday, the NFL on CBS brings you doubleheader action. First, these Denver Broncos against the Cleveland Browns, while the Bengals tangle with the Bills. Trent and I will be in Kansas City as the Chiefs host. No, we'll be in Minnesota as the Chiefs travel to Minnesota. Then in game 2, the Chargers toe-to-toe with the Packers. All begins with the team that takes you all the way to Super Bowl 50, JB and company on the NFL Today. You guys will be in Minnesota going, where's Greg?
You'll be, guys, I'm having a great barbecue. Where are you joining me here? That's right. So now it's important. You got to understand, the Broncos put in an extra offensive lineman. They put in Garcia, so they're going to run the football. They're going to continue using the clock and force the Raiders to call timeouts.
This is C.J. Anderson. Anderson to the left side and brought down. And that'll stop the clock with 2:18 to play as they use another timeout. Hey, Saturday, the SEC on CBS brings you a huge SEC West showdown. Best game from the best conference when Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide visit the undefeated Texas A&M Aggies. It all begins live at 3 Eastern with college football today right here on CBS Sports.
Anticipate the Broncos running again here, getting the stop, calling the timeout, and then you've got to send the house and try and get the block, because even if you do punt it away, get it down your own 10, that's too much field to deal with. So I'd anticipate after this stop on 4th down going for the block.
Manning going to throw over the middle, complete to Anderson out of the backfield, and he's about a yard short of a first down.
C.J. Anderson on the reception.
And they're going to let the clock move to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play here in Oakland. Denver 16, the Raiders 7-1, and Gary Kubiak going to go for it. Why, Trent?
Well, you pick up the first down, you'll be able to basically run the clock out. If you don't make it, the Raiders still need two scores and 2 possessions.
C.J. Anderson in the backfield. And Manning not successful in getting him to jump. Now there's a challenge flag out on the field on the Denver side. And we're about to find out why.
Since we did not snap the ball after the 2-minute warning, Denver is challenging the ruling on the field of the previous play of the spot. So the play is under review.
They will take a look at that. Meanwhile, let's go back to this philosophy of going for fourth down, Trent. I ask you, why not make them go the length of the field twice?
Well, because if you do get the first down, and you can see there C.J. Anderson is about a half a yard short. The spot will be different than where it is now, but it's still going to be about a half a yard short. So they may get an advantage of a foot or so here after the replay. But the reason you go for it is you know that the Raiders need 2 scores. They only have 1 timeout left now because they had to burn their timeouts to get the ball back. And so instead of having to link the length of the field twice, by getting the first down, you can basically take a knee. They will use the 1 timeout, but by the end of the whole thing, you're only going to have 10, 20 seconds left.
How about this? In his career, Britton Colquitt, who is in his 7th season, has 408 career punts. He's only had 1 of them blocked, and it was here against Oakland back in 2013.
And I don't think he has any into the end zone this year. He hasn't had a touchback. He's dropped him inside the 20 consistently all season long without kicking him into the end zone.
So we understand that this challenge is going to fail and that the ball will stay where it is. Here comes John Hussey.
The ruling on the field of the spot has been confirmed. Since Denver challenged, they will be charged a timeout. This is also the 2-minute warning.
So now the punting unit comes onto the field for the Broncos.
Well, it's interesting he said it was confirmed that it doesn't stand, so that meant that the spot, that they obviously confirmed the fact that the spot was correct, so as opposed to not being enough evidence to move it.
No one deep for the Raiders. They'll come after Colquitt on this. Here they come. Got it away. And this will bounce inside the 5 and into the end zone for the touchback. Well, this Broncos defense has come up big down the stretch this season. In the opener, Darian Stewart intercepting Joe Flacco in the end zone with 36 seconds to play. Then in week 2, Brandon Marshall forcing a Jamal Charles fumble. Bradley Roby runs it in for the touchdown with 27 seconds left on the clock. And then last week, TJ Ward strip sack on Teddy Bridgewater with less than 2 minutes left, preserving a 23-20 win over the Vikings. And then today, Chris Harris Jr. with the pick and the return, 75 yards for the touchdown. Carr with time, gonna go deep down the middle of the field. Penalty flag thrown. Pass intended, I believe, for Amari Cooper.
I just can't believe they let Cooper get
Pass
behind him.
interference. Defense number 29. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
First glance that I looked at, he had about a 2 or 3 step lead.
Oh, he definitely did. It's amazing in a prevent style defense that would happen. But Roby, you can see there, gets early on his back, yanks him down.
And right now, Sebastian Janikowski is going to try to get 3 points from about 50 yards out. It has not been a great day for Janikowski. He's had 1 block. He just flat out missed another. 48 times in his career, he has hit from 50 or more. On its way. And good. So Jack Del Rio went after the 3 points in a hurry and not wasting any more time, and there's still 1:40 to play in regulation.
But now, because you use those timeouts, you still have to get the onside kick. But the important thing is, if you get the onside kick, you have plenty of time. You have 1 timeout, and you would still have a minute and a half, minute and 33, something along those lines. So by getting the kick there, you're giving yourself that time if you do get the onside kick.
How much time during the week does a team devote to special teams, things like this?
Well, you can see right there, Brad Seeley, one of the best special teams coaches in the National Football League, had a great deal of success at a number of different stops. Talked about the staff. Jack Del Rio talked about the staff he was able to put together. And it was a huge gift for him to get Brad Seeley. But you work on it. You at least work on it every week. There's one every day you're devoting some time to special teams, but your onside kick is generally reserved for Fridays when you want to work on those hand units, recovering onside kicks, but then also kicking the ball in the onside kick situation.
Last time the Raiders were successful with an onside kick back in December of 2008. They are 0 for their last 21 onside kicks. You can look at it and say they're due.
that would be a way to look at it.
Well, let's see where they're going to line up. Bunch of Broncos on the near side of the field. Into the air, grabbed by Demaryius Thomas. And Denver will have the ball in Oakland territory.
88, Demaryius Thomas.
Excellent job by the wall of Broncos to not let any of the Raiders through. You see him attack the Raiders. No one is able to leak through to even get near Demaryius Thomas as he's able to secure that ball.
0 for 22 now.
Well, Peyton Manning's going to come away with win number 10 in a row against the Raiders for him personally. And not his best day, but still a very good day. 22 of 35, 266 yards. No touchdowns with the 2 key interceptions.
And number 14 in a row on the road for the Denver Broncos in the AFC West. Last timeout used by the Raiders. A reminder tonight on CBS, beginning with 60 Minutes and a wide-ranging interview with President Obama, followed by new episodes of Madam Secretary, The Good Wife, and CSI Cyber, only CBS. Here are Peyton Manning's numbers on the day. 22 out of 35 with 2 interceptions, and he now has 6 touchdown passes and 7 picks on the year.
Well, that's very rare to see that, but you got to give some credit to the offensive line. Coming into today, he was sacked 10 times. A year ago, he was sacked 17 times on the season. Today, the Raiders were only able to sack him twice. So some good protection, giving him time to get rid of the ball. And as you said, Greg, 2 costly interceptions, but once again, the Broncos now, with the replay we just showed, they've had 4 wins where the defense has sealed things at the end.
A minute 20, and no way for the Raiders to stop the clock. The Broncos will travel to Cleveland next week before enjoying their bye week. And Green Bay, Indy, Kansas City, and Chicago on the horizon.
Very timely for that bye week, giving them a couple weeks to get ready for undefeated Green Bay.
Well, both these teams could use a bye week next week because this has been a tough game. On 3rd and 9, C.J. Anderson. About the 45. What's in store for the Raiders? They do have their bye week. And then it's San Diego, the Jets, Pittsburgh, Minnesota. On 4th and 6, with the clock running, they do have to run a play before time expires. Just take a knee here.
Peyton's going to take it all the way down to a second and call the timeout, and then they can ultimately decide what they want to do. But it looks like, what's the differential there? Maybe about a 5 or 6 second difference.
Don't ask me about math. You know you don't ask me about math.
It's actually going to be 8 seconds. If you can actually get it to about 4 seconds or 5 seconds, you could drop back as a quarterback and just throw a high pop fly down the sideline out of bounds, and that'll win the game. But with 8 seconds, they're going to have to punt this away, because if you go for it on 4th and miss it, then you're in field position for the Raiders to try a Hail Mary.
And it looks like they are going to kick it away. Here comes Colquitt. One of those points, one of those times where Colquitt definitely does not want to kick it into the end zone. Amari Cooper is at the 5.
I wouldn't even give him a chance to return it. I'd either go end zone or out of bounds. I wouldn't give him a chance.
Lofts it up short. Sideline. Cooper grabs it inside the 5. Trying to turn the corner. Gets a block. Cuts it back. And is brought down at about the 20-yard line.
He pitched it.
Before that whole circus gets underway, time expires, and the game comes to an end. So the Denver Broncos put to the test by the Oakland Raiders today and come up winners. 16-10 is the final score. Up next in 60 Minutes, followed by Madam Secretary, The Good Wife, and CSI Cyber. For Trent Green, Jamie Erdahl, and the rest of our CBS Sports crew here by the Bay, Greg Gumbel. So long from Oakland. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 50.